What's up, everybody? John from Old Reading Farm here, looking super pale in the sunlight, but fabulous nonetheless. In today's video, we're going to talk about why I have so many chainsaws, which is a question that my wife Catherine asks me all the time. She actually asked how many I had the other day, and she was even counting the little tiny handheld one that a company sent to me for free for including in one of my videos. And I was like, no, that doesn't count. She was like, yes, it does count. And I was like, well, Rick has it. She was like, it still counts. It still counts, which I don't think it counts. But anyway, we're going to get into why I have so many chainsaws. And let's go from biggest to smallest, because that's always the most fun. So I have a little fire going to get rid of some of the scraps from my chainsaw carving. This is the Big Daddy. This is the Husqvarna 372 XP, and it has a 24-inch bar on it. Now, when I bought this one, I got it for a couple of different reasons. One, it's big. And so this is the biggest saw I've ever owned. This is the biggest saw I currently have. And it has been awesome. I've used this to carve several big bears, and it's really helpful in the blocking process. So my needs for a chainsaw are varied. It used to be that I need a chainsaw to cut down trees, but now I'm a chainsaw carver, so cutting down trees is honestly not something that I do a ton of anymore. I can't remember, well, the last time I cut down a tree was when we were building the pasture for the alpacas. But anyway, so this saw is perfect for blocking out bears. So taking big logs and making them smaller. So I've also used it to, like I just said, cut down big logs and make them smaller. And so I'll show you how I do that in a second. But also, you know, there's logs like this guy right here. And I mean, this guy's probably 16 inches wide. And so I don't need a 24-inch bar to get through this, but it'll be a lot easier than using my little steel saws. So anyway, let's see what this puppy can do. Love that. So I just had this nasty burly end on here, knotty end. And so I think I'm going to carve maybe a gnome into that and use that knot structure at the bottom for a little base. I think that'll be cool. But so I'm going to actually mill this spruce to try to get some small usable pieces for some gnomes. Hoping that maybe I can get two. But I may only need, I may only be able to get one. We'll have to see. Because it's, all the wood that I have left for milling is just like all curved and knotty. Anyway, this thing is an absolute beast. Yeah. The only problem, let's get out of the smoke. The only problem with this is that it's really heavy. And I mean, you know, it's a powerful saw. So with great power comes great weight. But it is a tremendous saw, and I love it very much. All right, so I'm gonna see about clearing some of this stuff out. I got a bunch of scrap wood that I need to get rid of, and I'll check back in with you in a minute. All right, so clearly orange is my favorite color, right? But so besides the 372 XP, which does a great job, the next biggest chainsaw I have is the Husqvarna 455 Rancher. So this one has a 20-inch bar on it, and this was really one of the first saws that I ever got. It's actually it's the second chainsaw I've ever bought in my life. But this one was the one that initially started like the whole Old Reading Farm project up here at our new location. Because a couple years ago I had a little Poulan Pro 18-inch chainsaw, and I just wasn't cutting it up here. no pun intended. But we were, you know, cutting down trees, and the little chainsaw just wasn't quite doing the job. So we went to a local hardware store, or not a hardware store, but a local, you know, like landscaping power equipment dealer, and they pushed me towards this one. And this has been a great saw. I almost said little, but it's only little next to the 372, but it does a great job as well. And I do use this sometimes for blocking on smaller pieces. So like when it comes to the gnomes that I'm going to use this beam for, I'll probably use this to do some general blocking on the outside, but I may also use the 372. This one is just better. I mean, it's got a 20-inch bar, so obviously it's a little bit shorter than that one. So sometimes it's a little easier to use. It is definitely lighter, but it obviously doesn't have as much power. But I'll show you now, because I'm going to cut this up into pieces, and I'll show you what each one of these does. So, I mean, you practically can't tell the difference, right? At least on this log. As you probably saw in the beginning, the 455 needs a little bit extra to start up, but I need to do some cleaning on that. Anyway, I'm gonna get to blocking some gnomes out, and then I'll grab you guys again. All right, so chain on that guy is a little dull now, so I'm going to switch over to my second to smallest saw, but it's actually the same size, but a bigger bar, which is this. So this is my Stihl MS-170. I actually now have 3 of these, but this is my main one. As you can see, she's a little beat up, but she's doing just fine. So this has a 16-inch bar, and this is what I used for the smaller blocking, a little bit of detail work. So like, you know, nothing crazy, but now that I have some of the major angles cut in here, it'll be easier to take the smaller saw and go in and make the curves and stuff like that. I'll show you. So oddly enough, one of my favorite things about the Stihl saws is the gas cap. Okay, so I'm out of gas here, so I need to refill it. And so you can see they have these caps that stick out. And when you take them off, the threaded thing sticks up. Once I fill this up, I'll show you the difference. Well, now I didn't do that on purpose, but you can see I overflowed the oil tank there. And now I can just close that up, and granted it does spill out. Oop, almost spilled all the gas out too. Come on, John. Good save. But now I can just put this down and sort of let that leak out. But I'll show you the difference with the Husqvarna. Their gas tank is inside, and the threads are also inside. So if I do that same thing, it'll fill up past here, and then when I screw on the lid, it'll spew out even more. So I don't love that. It like just enhances your mistake and makes it even more mistakey. Makes it worse. But anyway, with the Stihl, and it's like the smallest little tiniest little detail thing ever. It doesn't really make a difference, but it's on both my Rancher and the 372. Not sure if that's a standard of Husqvarna. I only have these 2 saws. So anyway, gassed up, let's get back to carving. All right, so now I'm at a point with this guy where it's time for my smallest saw. And so even this is technically the same saw as the last one, this here MS-170 has the smallest bar that I have. So this is a 12-inch Canon dime tip bar. So what a dime tip bar means is it has the head of it is about the size of a dime. And the reason for that is, so when your chain is going, it goes this way. It goes towards the nose of the bar. So you can see that's where the actual sharp parts of your chain go. So when you are carving and you're doing stuff and you're touching things, when you're doing detail stuff and you have to get in there with the nose, you have to be very careful, because this acts almost as like, you know, think of a tire rotating. So it's pulling this way. So at the very tip of it, it's pulling it like this. So if you catch like a knot or something you weren't expecting, that's what kickback is, where the saw kicks back at you. And that's why chain brakes are the way they are, so that when they kick back, it locks so that you don't hit yourself in the face with the spinning chain. That's the plan anyway. So the reason why we use carving bars is because of the dime tip and because there's no sprocket. So usually with normal bars, there's a little sprocket in here with gears that helps this turn smoothly. But with carving bars, there is no sprocket. It's just basically a channel all the way around. And that's why this is loose. You don't want this chain too tight because it'll wear out the sides of the bar really bad. So you have a loose chain, there's no sprocket, and you have much less kickback. So that's why you can use this bar to do details and stuff like that. And the reason why I like these MS-170s, like I said, I have 3 of them now, is because they're cheap and parts are easy to get. So these are, in my area, $200 brand new. So I mean, for me, that's 5 ghosts. I need to sell 5 ghosts in order to get a new chainsaw. Not that I do that all the time, but you know, the other thing to consider with these is that even though they are cheap, they are really well made, but they're really like made for homeowners. But this is a good standard saw for carving. So if you are looking to get into carving, this is a good saw. Also, if you're like just a little, you know, homeowner guy or girl, and you need to have a little chainsaw, this is a great little saw to get. I'll show you what I do with this bar right now. All right, and there you have it. I have my little gnome guy here. So I was able to get the nose, I was able to get his beard all bearded up, cleaned this up a little bit, just made it less square. He's looking pretty good. He's a little bit rough, but that's okay. The rough gnomes do just fine. So that's about it. So I have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chainsaws. Is that too many? Clearly not. I use every single one of them all the time, and then they are all necessary. So next time your wife asks you why you have so many chainsaws, you can just point her to this video. Just kidding. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.